What's up everybody, Unrested here, and as we move later into the December month, it is getting close to that very special time of the year, Christmas. And many a times I get the question, probably each and every year around this time, does Japan celebrate Christmas? And I think it's a question I've kind of answered in little sparse points. Like I've just kind of been like, yeah, they do, here's something they do. Yeah, they celebrate New Year's, here's something they do, here's a tradition. Here and there scattered throughout different videos. So I thought what I'd do today is make a JFAQ for you, explaining exactly how Japan celebrates Christmas, what are some traditions, how it's different from Western style Christmas, and how there are some unique aspects to it, and how New Year's is probably a little more special in Japan than Christmas is. So let's just get started. Okay, is Christmas celebrated in Japan? Not in the same sense that you would imagine in Western countries. First of all, it's pretty rare that a Japanese family would put up a Christmas tree, although it's not unheard of. I do know some that do. We ourselves do tend to put one up. We've got a fake one, but we only put it up if we're staying in Japan for the whole year. If we're going to visit in the States, then there's no point in us putting it up. But for the most part, I would say no. Most Japanese families do not put up a Christmas tree. I think you're going to find that to be the general thing. Do they give presents out and open them on the day of the 25th? No. That tends to actually be done more so on New Year's. New Year's Day, right after New Year's Eve, of course. If there's going to be any gifts given out, most times it's gifts of just pure money, and oftentimes that money goes to mostly the youngest children in the family. I think sometimes the older you are, you get a little bit more money too, but yours tends to be a lot less than what the kids actually get. It's their chance for one time during the year to get a decent amount of money from grandma and grandpa or other relatives, and they're always pretty excited about that. Now, because they get that money, the very next day after New Year's is when we have sort of our version of Black Friday here in Japan. We've got these sales that go on that are pretty much called like bag sales or combination sales, which pretty much end up being sales that are bags full of random stuff the store has picked out, put into a bag and made super cheap. Now, the only thing is, it's a gamble when you grab these bags because you don't know exactly what's inside. I personally never go out of my way to look into any of these sales because most times what I've found when people open them up, because I have watched people buy these and open them up, that it tends to be the stuff that didn't sell too well during the year. It also can even have copies, doubles, and the same thing put in there multiple times, just because they packed it randomly that way. It can be totally random what you get inside of those bags. So is it worth it? Maybe sometimes, depends on how big of a fan you are of the store you're getting those combo bags or grab bags from. As for any kind of Christian influence, I am happy to say, because personally I don't like the whole Christian influence on Christmas, that there is not a Christian influence on Christmas out here, or the holidays in general. Nobody is excited about the birth of baby Jesus Christ. Nobody believes in that. Yes, there are Christians in Japan, but they make up like 0.01%. No, they probably make up like 1%. Like there's probably like 1% of people here are Christians or something very, 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 very low. You're looking at a country where 80% of people would identify as atheists, although they do keep up Shinto and Buddhist traditions and different religious practices. If you asked them, they'd say, I'm an atheist. As for the New Year's Day, tradition for that tends to be that a family will stay at their house. There's not a lot of crazy New Year's parties here in Japan. People will stay at their house together as a family. They stay there usually all the way until midnight, and then if they do, which most families do this, it's usually a family tradition, is they will go out at midnight to the closest temple and pray to whatever Shinto gods that they were wishing for. Usually it's like people like Abisu, the god of business and fortune, and you know, all different types of prayers to gods that would like help cure the sicknesses of different parts of the body. If you ever see them going up and rubbing a Buddha statue with different parts of the body that they rub, they're actually praying for that part of a body for either themselves or a loved one to be healed. Very traditional things, like I said, even though they identify as atheists, oftentimes you'll see them follow through with many Buddhist and Shinto culture and tradition type aspects. and let's see, they'll stay there through the night, and usually finally in the morning they'll go to sleep. After they come back, they'll do things like drink this wonderful, I think it's hop shoe mixed with an eggnog type material, for a drink that you can get at the temple at midnight, and it is so good to taste. Oh man, you got to be careful, you'll get super drunk off of that. And oh, very important tradition that I forgot about. Definitely you're gonna find this one hilarious. I found this, I honestly, the first time I heard this, I thought the person telling me was joking. On Christmas, especially Christmas Eve, this is the time where people want to do this. Christmas Eve, it is very important that if you have a date, you try to take her to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And you're probably thinking, what kind of ghetto date is that? Well, in Japan, that's not ghetto, okay? Yeah, sorry Japan, if you're a Japanese person watching this right now and you've never heard about what Americans think about taking a date to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like, you know, it would be nice for just like a quick stop at Kentucky Fried Chicken for no reason attached to it at all. But if you said, girl, I'm gonna take you out to a beautiful Christmas dinner, you're just gonna love it, we're gonna have chicken, the works, you know, biscuits, gravies, toppings, and then you took them to Kentucky Fried Chicken, you're gonna be looking for a new girlfriend. In America at least. But in Japan, you're not. You're actually gonna be having a very nice time with your girlfriend or your date at the time. Girls really want to have a date for that time, I've found out. Here in Japan, that is. And if you're a single guy and you're looking to go out on a date, I would highly recommend looking for a date around that time of Christmas Eve. And you may find yourself landing a date. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna, you know, grow and flourish into a beautiful relationship. You might get dumped the next day. But, you know, many girls are looking to have a date on Christmas Eve and go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, it has started to branch out. Other restaurants are starting to have their own versions of the chicken dinner because it did become famous at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now even stores like Lawson's and Family Mart sell a prepackaged chicken set that you can buy and eat at your house together with your date. That's convenience for you. So that's another very, very unique tradition that oftentimes if you explain that to Japanese people here, they're really surprised to find out other countries don't do that. We're like, yeah, no, that'd be crazy if you took your date to Kentucky Fried Chicken. But I will say, hey guys, listen, before you poo-poo that idea, fast food in Japan is actually fast food. And fast food restaurants in Japan are actually really clean and really good service and really good staff, and the food's actually usually pretty tasty. It's actually more tasty in Japan because it's always fresher. Like, you actually get good service. In fact, so much so that you can actually get a job at McDonald's, and it's so hard to work in Japan because you've got a hardcore, super fast, gigantic line lined up, and you're going at super speeds because fast food is fast food here, like I said, that you can put it down on a resume even for when you go for a high-level corporate job, and they will be impressed that you worked at McDonald's in Japan because apparently it's a really stressful job. Anyway guys, that's a little bit on Christmas in Japan. I hope you liked everything you saw here today. If you have any more questions about Christmas in Japan, feel free to comment below. Let me know what you'd like to hear. Until next time, I am Unarrested, and this was JFAC.